Hey, I'm ChristopherJMUA and welcome back to my channel. Unless you've never been here, of course, so then welcome. I'm so glad you stopped by. Today we're reviewing the Midas Cosmetics Blueprint Collection. More like the Blueprint eyeshadow palette, but there's also 2 liners that we got. So that makes it a full collection. So if you would like to see what this collection consists of, except I just told you, also see how the products perform, as well as if you'd like to know what my initial first impressions of the Midas Cosmetics Blueprint Collection are, then stay exactly where you are, keep doing exactly what you're doing, and keep on watching. Okie dokie, artichokes, let you know first that the entire Blueprint Collection from Midas Cosmetics was $75. That includes the Blueprint palette, which retails by itself for $48. The Steel Gel Liner, which is $19 for full retail value, and it is a metallic reflective finish. And then the Ultra Matte Gel Liner in the shade Slate, which is also $19 by itself as well. I'm going to go ahead and start with showing you guys the 2 gel liners, and then we're going to move on to the eyeshadow palette. Here's the unit carton that both liners comes in. One just has Ultra Matte Gel Liner, the other has Reflect Gel Liner. Love the blue, by the way. Then on the back, it just has the directions as well as ingredients and a little barcode. Then if we open them, then here's the actual component they come in. These are so pretty. I really like this packaging. This one is the shade Steel, the Reflect Gel Liner. This one is the shade Slate, the Ultra Matte. Here is what the Slate shade looks like inside the pot. And here is what the Steel shade looks like inside the pot. Oh, they're both so beautiful. And here's a swatch of Slate. Let's try that again. Swatch of Slate. There we go. And then swatch of Steel. Both are very close in tone, but very different in finish. Steel has so much reflect to it. Then of course we have the star of the show, the Melt Blueprint palette. And I think it is so cool that they put all the blueprints for their components on the front of it. They have their liquid lipsticks, their melt stacks, the blush liner components, the liquid lipsticks, and the regular lipstick components. It's just really neat that they did that. Then if we flip it over, it continues the components and the blueprints, and it has the ingredients and directions on the bottom. Then we'll flip it back over, and let's open the unit carton to expose the actual component. Oh wow! Ah, that's so pretty! Ah, I love it! It's so blue and so reflective. Oh my gosh, I'm so obsessed already. And it's just the packaging. Okay, so obviously that's what the actual component for the eyeshadow palette looks like. Has all the blueprints all over it. Then when we flip it over, it again has all the blueprints listed on it for the components of their products. And flip it over again, and let's open this palette and see what the shades look like on the inside. Oh, okay. So we have a pretty fair mix of blues and neutrals. I did not expect that. I thought maybe we were gonna get a monochromatic palette out of this. Okay, awesome. Well, now I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in so that we can get started on swatches. The first shade is the shade Skylight. Deadbolt, Dim Out, King Stud, Beaming, Hotwire, Hammered, and Nailed. And there we have every single shade from the Midas Cosmetics Blueprint eyeshadow palette. As always, I will insert photos of the swatches, one with flash here, and one without flash here. And as always, here's a video close-up of every single swatch. After those swatches, I'm actually pretty surprised with this palette's color story. I don't know why, but I kind of had it in my head that it was going to be sort of a monochromatic color story, and then maybe we're going to have a white for like a blueprint writing and black for like shadow. And then I just thought it was going to be a whole bunch of blues. But it's really like half a nude palette, half a blue palette. The only reason I'm not pleasantly surprised is I've only got 2 matte shades, a deep blue and a deep brown. And from what I remember from most of the Melt collections I've reviewed on my channel, it seems like there's usually a few different sort of matte bases that you can build before you go in with your shimmer. And with this palette, that is definitely not the case. You're either gonna get a brown look or a blue look or a brown blue look. So I personally don't know how much I love that for a color story. Blue is my favorite color, in case you didn't know. So it's not like I'm not completely obsessed with this, because that's gorgeous and I love it. But I just don't know how I feel about this with all of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera really quick and prime my eyes with my P. Louise base in the shade Rumor 02, and I'm also gonna use my Morphe M167 brush to do that. And then I will be right back. Eyes are now primed and I have literally no idea what it is I'm going to do today. So let's go ahead and get started. I think I'm gonna try to do more like a nude look with blue incorporated somehow, because I've done plenty of monochromatic blue looks. If you've been following me on Instagram for any sort of time at all, you already know that I've done plenty of monochromatic blue looks. If you haven't though, ChristopherJMUA on Instagram and Twitter. I'd love if you wanted to follow me over there so you can see the looks that I post. And lately I've been posting a lot more videos. And TikTok, can't forget about TikTok. Anyway, I'm gonna start by using the Morphe M441 brush. And I'm gonna go into the shade Hammered. Now I'm just gonna start by applying this shade into the crease, and I'm just gonna build it up and see kind of what it looks like as it gets built up and blown out. I'm hoping that it will sort of get lighter as it fades out. I feel like that's maybe the shade or one of the shades that I feel like I'm missing from this palette. Like a lighter brown, like a transition-y light brown shade. Of course, my transition-y light brown shade is gonna be different than anybody else's transition-y light brown shade, so I don't really know what kind of light brown shade. I just feel like this one's a little bit deep, considering the only other matte is a very deep denim navy. I'm just gonna pull this from inner corner to outer corner, or I guess from outer corner to inner corner, and just keep buffing and blending. So in the pan, this looks like almost like a warm chocolatey brown. On the eye, it's almost like a mauve latte kind of color, if that makes any sort of sense at all. Needless to say, it does indeed blend out. It's actually looking really, really smooth. Okay, that shade is now blended out. It's actually really pretty. Like I said before, it's soft, it went on opaque and seamless. It's just not looking like the exact same color as what's in the pan yet. Now obviously in the crease where I built it up extra much, it is looking a little more like the shade in the pan. It's just kind of odd to me that it ended up looking a little more mauve at first when it's definitely not a mauve. So now I'm gonna use this Midas Cosmetics LR007 tapered blending brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade Dim Out now. Now with this shade, I'm gonna start just building it up on top of the shade Hammered, and hopefully, if everything works appropriately, it will just blend in, give everything kind of an overall veil of blue with an outer gradient of brown. Now normally I don't tap off the excess pigment from my brush when I go in and apply eyeshadow. I just like the maximum potency and pigmency of a shadow. But I am this time, because this blue looks and applies very strong. Very strong. So I'm trying to build it up a little more slowly to be sure that it doesn't get too out of hand too quickly. And again, pulling this shade all the way to the inner corner as well. I'm thinking I'm gonna go for a little bit more of a spotlight eye again today. Just really been liking the look of a spotlight eye lately. Then I'm gonna pull this blue shade up just a little bit higher on the outer edge of the eye. This way it will kind of help my hooded lid look not so hooded. Okay, I've gotten my blue blended out. Now, I noticed as I was blending the blue into the shade Hammered, and then I went back in with the M441 brush to blend out, dim out into Hammered, it started turning Hammered more and more into like this mauve purple the more I blended. So I immediately stopped blending as soon as I saw that happening and decided that I would just not blend anymore. But just so you know, Hammered is a very different kind of shade. It's one that I'm gonna have to play with a little bit more to really understand what color it is and how it sort of works with the other tones within this palette. But in my opinion, I kind of like that because it's making it where it's actually pairing with the shadow even better, which obviously we want that. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get some shimmer on the lid. I think I'm gonna keep the lid part of the look mostly nude until I get to the actual spotlight part of the look, then I'll go blue again. So I'm gonna take the e.l.f. x J.Kissa J1 flat brush and I'm gonna go into the shade Nailed. And this shade is just gonna be the all over lid color. That is so golden. Wow. I just love melt shadows, I really do. I do think the color stories can sort of be a little hit and miss sometimes, and every now and then you'll get a shade that just really doesn't quite work the way you think it's gonna work. But for the most part, I've loved most melt palettes I've used and gotten. Now I'm gonna take Dim Out again and just go around the edges of the shimmer shade just to blend in the edges of it. Make sure the lid doesn't look too disconnected. And then I'm also going to pull that shade down onto the outer corner and the inner corner. That way we just start establishing sort of that spotlight shape. That is really beautiful. I did not think that was actually gonna work together. I mean, it's like a brown gold right beside a blue. You know, you wouldn't really think, I don't know. I wouldn't normally think that they would work together, but they are, and they do, so I'm not gonna complain about it. Okay, this is like really hot. Like, I really like this a lot. When I look at it close up, it's like, ooh, it looks expensive. Why have I never put gold and blue together? I do wish now though that I would have gone in with Hammered much more intensely. I wish I would have built it up until it looked like that red chocolatey brown, because it would have looked so gorgeous to have the red chocolatey brown, then the tealy blue, then the gold. That would have been perfection. But now, I'm gonna take this Morphe Fluffy Flat Brush and I'm gonna go into the shade Skylight. Now my potential intention with this shade is to give the center of my eye just a blue teal reflect. I still want the golden champagne-y color to be there and be very apparent, but I also want there to be that blue shift, like the blue reflect. I'm kind of making my own duochrome here. Possible. There you go. You can kind of see how it has that blue tone to it in the center now, a tiny bit. That's sort of the vibe I wanted. Now on the other eye, I would like to try just my ring finger in that shade instead. I want to see if it'll pack on quickly, because that is intense and shiny and colorful right there. Let's see. Oh, I like that so much better. Okay, I'm gonna do that with this side too. Wow, that is so different. I love it. I am now gonna use this ColourPop E29, very teeny tiny flat brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade Beaming. I know it's a little golden, but based on the gold that went on the lid and how the blue worked with that, I'm not afraid of the gold anymore like I was. I just kept thinking that gold beside blue, there's no way that it was gonna be cute. I don't know why. Mark and I actually just went shoe shopping today and found some shoes that had brown soles, but they were blue cloth, and it looked good together. And brown is close to gold, so I guess why wouldn't blue and gold look together? I digress. And there we go. Wow. That is really, really pretty. I like that a lot. Now you guys know, before we can actually complete the lower lash line, I need to go off camera and do all of my face makeup. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all of that, get everything prepared to the point where we can just go and finish off the lower lash line and then use the liners, and I will be right back. So I'll see you guys in just a second. Got majority of my face makeup done, at least enough of it to finish off the lower lash line. So let's do that. Let's finish off the lower lash line. First, I'm gonna take my Morphe M113 flat brush and I'm gonna go into the shade Dim Out. Again, you can probably already guess what I'm gonna do because it's gonna be kind of boring, but I've got two matte shades to work with, you know what I mean? So like, what else is there? And this shade is just gonna be that lower lash line accent color, bright blue. Just a straight line of bright blue. Almost like I went in with a gel liner and blended it out, but instead, I'm gonna take this Morphe M321 Bullet Crease Brush, and now I'm gonna go into the shade Hammered again, but this time I'm gonna smoke out, dim out with Hammered. And now with this shade, it's just gonna go right underneath. Now it's time to use a liner. I'm gonna use the Slate Ultra Matte Gel Liner rather than the Ultra Metallic. This look to me, it's just really calling for matte, you know? I feel like at this point there's enough shimmer on the lid. I don't need to add any more. So using my Sigma E10 small eyeliner brush, I am going to paint on some eyeliner. I just did one eye off camera just to kind of toy with it and play with it to see if I was gonna like it. I almost feel like this formula is different from the last set of formulas that I got. I think with the 420 collection. I don't know what it is. I don't know if maybe I'm just using less liner this time, or maybe the brush that I'm using is different from last time. Something is different though, because it's going on so much smoother. Despite the fact this collection didn't come with a white liner for me to make this liner look like an actual blueprint, I still love this liner. I don't know how, and I can't understand how I got this liner on without there being a bunch of texture with it, but there's not. It's soft, it's beautiful, it's perfect, it's opaque, it's pigmented, and it matches everything else perfectly. I love this. And with the liner, that's essentially it for this collection and this look. So I'm gonna go ahead, go off camera, get some eyeliner in the waterline, get my mascara, my lashes on, get my lids done, get the whole look completely finished off so I can give you guys my final thoughts on the Melt Cosmetics Blueprint collection. Not that you already know what my thoughts are, because they could be very different than what I'm acting like it is. See you in just a second. Well, looks like the whole look is done now. Got the face all done, the lashes all done, the liner's all applied and everything, and I guess I'm ready to give my final thoughts on this palette, I guess. So when it comes to the Melt Cosmetics Blueprint palette, I've got to give it a 10 out of 10. I would recommend. Bet you weren't expecting that. Okay, no, but seriously, this palette, I can honestly say now that it was a pleasant surprise. I sure thought that this was not gonna pair with this. I thought that those shades just weren't gonna work together or beside each other. Obviously the palette's curated by someone, by the brand, for a reason, and the shades that are within the palette are meant to be together for a reason, but you know, not every brand nails that. Not every brand gets that right. But I gotta tell you, for Melt with this palette, they did. I actually really love the combination of the nude, neutral tones with the blues. Now, I do wish that there were more mattes. I would have personally liked to have gone without maybe this shimmery teal and maybe this orangey copper, I guess. I feel like if those two would be replaced with maybe a lighter matte brown and a lighter matte blue, maybe something like that, I would have been much, much happier, and it would have been closer to a palette of perfection, if you will. But regardless, it is still absolutely beautiful. The formula within the palette is the formula that I recognize as Melt's formula: smooth, buttery, pigmented, opaque, metallic. Did I mention metallic? And I mean, I just don't really have anything negative to say about it. So the palette, yeah, if you're looking for some blues and you like blues, and you also like some golds, but you don't want a monochromatic blue palette, I think this is gonna be the way to go if you have the extra $48 that you wanna spend on it. Then the liners, I did not use the Reflect gel liner, but I did use the matte. And like I said earlier, I can't believe how smooth it went on. I'm gonna zoom in really quick and let you guys see this eye look close up, because I want you to see how untextured this liner looks. Do you see? It literally just looks like my skin. It's the same texture as my skin. So it didn't build up and bunch up and get crusty and gross. I don't know what I've been doing wrong this whole time, but now I know the Sigma Small Eyeliner E10 brush combined with using the back of my hand to smooth out the brush to apply it is the way I'm gonna go. Apparently it's the way I've gotta go to get it to be the smoothest. But the liners definitely worth it as well. I've been collecting the liners since I bought my very first item from Melt, so I'm pretty sure I'm always going to recommend them unless they just come out with a new formula that I absolutely hate. Then I'll let you know, just like I always do. So with that, that is it from me, but most importantly, I want to know what you guys think. Do you like the Melt Blueprint palette? Do you think that it's a good mix of tones, or are you like me with the first glance of it and you're like, let me know in the comments below. You guys know that I always love to have a conversation with you. And if you did enjoy this video, it would mean the world to me if you wanted to give me a thumbs up. Just to let me know that you did enjoy it. Helps me out, lets me know that you like my content, but it also lets others know that you like my content. Also, if you like this look and you want to see more looks like them, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. My username is the same for everything. It's just ChristopherJMUA. And if you gain nothing out of this video, if you gain nothing out of any of my videos, please at least gain this. And that is to always remember and to never forget that you are absolutely beautiful. And I love you guys. Bye.